So I had a fascinating experience that took place recently that I would like to share with you, and particularly because it led me to an insight in davening and a word that I heard from Chaim Friedlander that I really gained a new appreciation for. And the question that Chaim Friedlander asks is, why does the bracha of Ato Choynein Lodem Das, which is the first request that we ask in Shemoneh Esrei, why is that the only bracha that starts off with the word Ato? Of all of the requests, the one thing that we emphasize that comes from Hashem is Das. Ato Choynein Lodem Das. And why is that? But first, I would like to share with you the story and the insight that led to that appreciation. So this week, I took an interview with a school. And it is an Israeli school indeed. And I sat down with the head of school, a Rebbe, and a parent. The only one that spoke English was the head of school. And part of the interview was to see, could I communicate effectively in Hebrew? And particularly with a staff member that was looking for improvement and changes in the school. So after 2 hours, I was exhausted. But what I found fascinating was I was struggling on 3 levels. There was first the language, to have the words and to be able to recall the words that I wanted to use. But then there was understanding, making sure that the people I was talking to understood what I had to say. But there was a third level that became very apparent in this conversation. And that is when you resonate with the person you're talking to, and you get this sense of a synergy. So oftentimes you can't even tell that by words, but you see by the facial expressions, you see that by the body posture. So the parent was very responsive to what I said, and I feel that I was able to communicate, get the words out, and he was able to understand me well. And he also responded appropriately, that it appeared that I was resonating with him, that my answers were meaningful to him and he appreciated them. However, the Rebbe was much more guarded. He was more passionate about his concerns, and when it came to my answers, he was very guarded in his responses. He kind of had this smile plastered on his face and gave no physical responses to my answers, which really left me feeling like unsure. Was he understanding? Was he appreciating what I had to answer? And how was he feeling about it? The truth is, these 3 levels apply within our own das as well. And some people call that Chochmah, Bina, and Das, different explanations on how you refer to them in this bracha. But these 3 concepts are found in our own das. And that is, 1, knowledge, which comes from either learning or being told something or just seeing things in the world, which many people call Chochmah. There's Bina, which everybody agrees means I'm able to extrapolate, I'm able to understand Dover mitoch Dover. And then you have a 3rd level, which is more like intuition, or Rashi teaches the word Das to mean Ruach HaKodesh, which I think means on a simple level, where we're able to understand more than what's just being said or more than what's being thought. There's this kind of this greater intuition which oftentimes we get when we ponder certain things or we work we work diligently, let's say on a Tosfos or a piece of Gemara. You get this insight which is oftentimes more than just Bina. But here with communications, it's you're accessing your own Das, and then you're trying to then connect to the Das of the person you're talking to. So it's a little bit more complicated, but it is very similar. And in fact, those are the pieces and the components of what they call emotional intelligence for those people that study that science. But now we get to the insight. So Chaim Friedlander asks again, why does the bracha of Ato Choynein Das, the only bracha of all of the requests that starts off with the word Ato? And he answers, because it's the one area that we tend to not be able to see Hashem. Meaning, we know that for health, we have to come onto other people. We have to come onto doctors, and we have to daven. For slicho, to get forgiveness, of course we have to ask Hashem. For our parnoso, again, we need to go outside ourselves, and we often daven very strongly for that. But das, my own knowledge, my own intellect, my own abilities, those are me. We tend to forget that is not necessarily something we take for granted. So the bracha emphasizes, Ato choinelon das, even my das, my knowledge, my ability to talk and communicate, similarly so, comes from Hashem. And even though it's very much part of our intrinsic abilities and inside ourselves, the Mechaber Tefillah are telling us we need to look deeper and recognize that that too comes from Hashem. I truly felt that the other night when my ability to talk, which is something that I've always relied upon and have been successful in being able to communicate and resonating with the people I'm talking to, was put into question. I began to truly realize and feel that it's not something for granted, and we need to ask Hashem for that as well. So in conclusion, this experience has taught me to really appreciate all of the things that Hashem gives us, whether it's the refuah that we hope for Simcha Doiber, or the parnasa that we're all trying to work on, particularly those of us who don't yet have a job, but even the das, our ability to understand ourselves and understand others, is something that we have to see comes from Hashem, and appreciate the gift that Hashem gives us when we're successful, and continue to ask for it on a daily basis.